Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to my Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Thank you. Welcome to the party, pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 144. I've got Eric Saba. We're actually going to talk a little bit about Javier Milei today, but we're going to talk more about Victoria Villarruel, who is the vice president right now of Argentina. She was sworn in. Eric is a 25-year-old psychology student in Buenos Aires. He's been activist with La Libertad Avanza, and he's also host of the libertarian podcast La Misa de Dan. How are you, Eric?
Hi, Chris. How are you? First of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me. So thanks for the for the introduction. I'm to sum it up. I've been with La Libertad Avanza, with the political party that just won the elections and made Javier Milei the new president of Argentina since the beginning, and even before the party even existed, since Javier's first appearances in the media. And so you wanted to talk about a little bit more about Victoria. So Victoria, Well, I suppose that you know that she's a lawyer. She mainly got media attention from funding and managing a foundation called the El Celtiv. Celtiv it's an acronym that means something like Center for Legal Studies about the victims of terrorism in Argentina. What's the political and historical background of this? Well, in the 70s in Argentina, there was a period of very high political violence. There were very hard times for Argentina economically and politically and socially, because among other things, Juan Perón, that was the famous political referent of Argentina for a lot of the 20th century, had just died during his third presidency in 1974, and he left a lot of things unchecked, mainly the rise of guerrilla warfare in Argentina, mainly corresponding with left-wing ideals and left-wing groups. And many of those left-wing groups, like in Argentina, like Montoneros, that were mainly associated with Peronism, but also with left-wing and Communist Party, as the one we call the ERP, the Revolutionary Army of the People. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of young people that were actually convinced about this like a socialist utopia, regardless of the ideology, and that they had to do some sort of warfare against the national state in order to accomplish it. The point is that in order to finance all of this, what they did was to kidnap the sons and daughters of the richest and most powerful people of Argentina, in order to charge for the rescue afterwards, what we in Argentina call secuestros express, like express kidnapping. I kidnap a relative of yours, and then I charge you for the rescue, and afterwards I kill whoever I kidnap, in order to avoid a liability. So using all that black money, you could say, they financed their whole for political operation, which ended in a lot of in a very violent episode of Argentina. But what Victoria did was to grab the descendants of all of these victims that were in the last 20 years were like completely drawn out of history. They were completely thrown out of every history book, every textbook from public schools. Nobody, even nobody from my generation afterward, or younger generations, knew what this whole thing was about. Why? Because there was a key political interest of the Kirchnerist of the Kirchnerist party, of the Kirchnerist presidents, Cristina, Néstor Kirchner, now Alberto Fernandez, of cleaning up, of erasing this part of history where they are shown as as the enemies, as the guys that kidnap and kill innocent people in order to finance their political utopia, or the creation of their political utopia. And Victoria made herself famous writing books and going on TV talking about this episode of political violence, and talking about the complete side of history. Because here in Argentina, everybody knows about the last political dictatorship, the dictatorship of Videla, the World Cup of '78, the persecution of people, the disappearances, the what we call the flights of death, where they took political dissidents and they dragged them and they threw them from airplanes to the Rio de la Plata, to the Rio Plate. So, but that's only half of history. If you want to make a serious analysis, you need to understand that a dictator doesn't just get up one day and tries to make a coup. There are political dynamics and historical dynamics that go along with that. And in Argentina, they try to erase that part of history. And Victoria started a movement that tried to make people remember that. At least from my part and from my experience, if it wasn't for Victoria, I would have never known that the 70s, or most of the second half of the 20th century in my country had such a black stain of political violence, of left wing political violence, with so many victims and with so many and with so many crimes still waiting for the correct trial. And well, that was, I would say, mainly that thing that awarded her with the merit that she deserved, as the runner up for vice president of Argentina, and well, in 2021 for the day as a deputy for the city of Buenos Aires in the House of Representatives. Uh, so I think that was a good introduction. I don't know if you have any questions that maybe I could ask.
Yeah. This is yeah. She has an interesting career. Well, one other interesting fact too. So she's also fluent in Japanese, which is
Ah, yeah. That was quite a surprise for us. Also, it seems that, well, she 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 when she spent her younger years in law school, training to become a lawyer, she spent, I think, 1.5 years studying Japanese, because she was fascinated with the country and the Japanese culture, which I have to say is pretty interesting. And well, she kind of studied the language, and of course, if you're a politician and there's a foreign committee that's coming to congratulate you or to deliver you a present, it's ideal that you present yourself as a sign of respect in the original language.
yes,
So I'd say, well, if I have to be honest, she caught us all. She caught us all unprepared. No one knew that she could talk Japanese. But yeah, it seems that she
yes,
can handle her can she can handle it very very well. She's full of
yeah,
surprises.
yes. Okay, well, yeah. This is the Center for Legal Studies on Terrorism and Its Victims, or the Centro de Estudios Legales sobre el
Yeah,
Terrorismo.
exactly.
Yeah, and so she's got a career as a lawyer. She's never married, but and it looks like also, and I wonder if her, maybe she was just, got interested in Japan because there was so much chaos, and Japan has always had that reputation for being a very orderly country. So it's in some ways maybe the opposite of Argentina. And she's
Well, there's a common quote in economics. that was said by Simon Kuznets, I think.
Yeah.
I think that you already know what I'm about to say.
I don't know
Uh,
what you're going to say.
but well, there's a phrase that says something like, in economically speaking, you have four types of countries in the world. There
Yes.
are the developed countries, underdeveloped countries, then you have Japan, and afterwards you have Argentina.
Oh,
Okay, so what does that mean?
yeah.
Well, developed countries are countries that have, technology, they have high wages, they have everything.
Yeah.
Underdeveloped countries are the ones that are on the road to being a developed country. Japan is a country that having almost no natural resources, managed to be a developed country out of thin air. And Argentina is a country that has almost every natural resource that you could think of, and it is still a poor country.
Oh,
Uh, so that just begs to show the kind of economic paradox that we are currently living in Argentina.
well,
But
yeah.
no, but yeah, I think that Japan, we have a lot to learn from them, and they have a lot to learn from us, because
Yeah.
they are also having a kind of major economic issue right now regarding the budget, the national budget, and the foreign debt.
Yeah.
But I think that the work ethic, the Japanese work ethic, the national pride that they have for the country.
Oh, yes.
I think both of those things are stuff that
Yeah.
we can make a significant cultural change using those things as diplomatic tools.
Yeah. And of course, also it was, Fujimori in Peru who, put down the shining path. So I wonder if that's another, and he's of Japanese descent.
Yeah, well, what happened in Peru is really something that like belongs in I don't know, like in the annals of cinematography, because it's something like out of a movie, of a Martin Scorsese movie. Like
Yeah.
this guy, yeah, like Fujimori, like rose to power, and Peru needed a fast way to restructure its whole economy, and the Congress wouldn't put up with the changes. So Fujimori said, "Well, if you are not going to approve the bills that I need them to be approved, I'm going to shut down Congress, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to do it myself."
Yeah.
Which is in a way something that people or Milei supporters in Argentina are trying to provoke him to do, but it's not going to happen, because
Yeah.
democracy in Argentina is something that is too much, and these type of institutions or political institutions are too admired and appreciated by the Argentine citizen. So there's no way. But what you can do, that is this is stuff that we've been discussing in the last few years. What you can do is something, for example, to sum it up, in Argentina, the House of Representatives has like a kind of recess during the summer. Like it should have started right now, in the last in the like next week, but the president can order the representatives to stay for the whole summer because of a situation of national emergency, like what's going on right now. So what Javier can do, and he's going to do it because it's already been announced, is to go to the House of Representatives and say, "Well, guys, hello, how are you? Nobody's going on any vacation. The country is going to shit, and I need you to pass this urgent bill, in order so that I can make the economic reforms that the country needs." Uh,
Yes.
so yeah, we are going to have a very entertaining summer here in Argentina. There's even been reports of maybe we're going to have like 100, 120 degrees in the, like full days. But what I was saying is, if even if even if the country is going to shit in a 120 degrees day, if people see that Javier is making the politicians work, or at least that he's making them work for a better country, or for making Argentina great again, a great country again, he's going to keep his political support and his political capital. That is the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of and there's been a lot of subversion by communists going on. With the Montoneros and the People's Revolutionary Army back in the '70s, maybe
Yeah.
having ties to Castro. And also I didn't realize they might have had some ties to the Palestinian groups, which might be why the more conservative politicians in Argentina are very supportive of Israel because they don't like the Palestinian organizations.
Well, it's like, well, me myself, I'm Jewish, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but since the attacks on Israel in last October, there's been quite a few surprises. I mean, it's not as heavy as you guys have it over there, or maybe in Europe, where there's been like huge manifestations supporting Palestine and the terrorist group of Hamas. Or even, well, I've read about Ivy League universities where people are actually supporting terrorism. Um, but and here in Argentina, well, left-wing parties, we are not surprised about this, but we have to say it. Left-wing parties and left-wing political representatives have been openly supporting the terrorist group that currently governs the Gaza Strip. So, of course, Javier's position is pro-Israel, as he has been developing very stretched very stretched relationships and connections with the Jewish community in Argentina. He has said that he has a deep admiration for the Jewish scholars and Jewish tradition, even as he himself is a Catholic. Um, and Victoria as well. Well, Victoria is a is a really big supporter of Western tradition and Western civilization. And if you think that Israel is the representation of Western civilization in the Middle East, well, that's just simple mathematics. You have to that I mean, there's nothing to discuss. Nobody in this new administration is going to support the killing of innocents in the Middle East.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't want to go into that. So yeah, so also her father was also had a long military career, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Victoria's father, I think he was a Colonel Villarruel. He was a hero in the Islas Malvinas War. I want to say Falkland Island because I would get
Yes,
canceled.
Islas Malvinas. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
English
yeah,
speakers call it the Falkland
yeah.
Islands.
I don't wanna
Some
get too
people, some
too
people described it as two bald men fighting over a comb. But yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a really deep. I mean, it was a real conflict, a real military conflict, but the reasons of that conflict were very politically rooted. I mean, the English needed something to divert the country's attention, and in Argentina we did as well. So it worked both ways, and we lost. So, but that doesn't mean that there weren't like specific points in the war where some of our soldiers and our pilots like had great military achievements, and Victoria's father was one of them. he was a veteran of this war, and he was condecorated as such. And afterwards, he, as far as I know, he developed his own like private security company, which Victoria also administrated with the rest of the family. But yeah, the fact that that his father had a military background just proves the point that it's not a coincidence that she as a lawyer is specialized in stuff like national defense and national security, because that was what was present in her family tradition. And also the fact that in the last decades in Argentina there's been a complete lack of funding and of I would say national respect, or respect from the political institutions to the armed forces, because the only thing that they have done the last 20 years is to try to remember people that during the 70s there was a coup by the military leaders. And since every single democracy has tried to, well, not at least maybe not Menem's presidency, but every single almost every single presidency since has tried to limit the capacity for the armed forces to try to develop their responsibilities as well as they should. So our borders are insecure. There are almost no patrols in the south of the Argentine Sea. There's a lot of illegal fishing from Chinese boats, and all of that stuff is happening because the different branches of the army and of the federal forces that had to be over all of this. They can do it because they don't have the funding, they don't have the tools, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the vehicles. So Victoria is trying to change all that. That's her whole agenda.
Yes,
To
yeah.
cut off the 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 stuff that is completely unnecessary of the budget, and give some of that saved up money to the defense budget.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think they'll try to anytime soon. They'll maybe try to start a war over the Malvinas again.
No,
Really
there's
not
no
like,
way. There's no way in the world. I mean, even if the world is fucked up as it is right now with the Middle East and
yeah.
and the and the Ukraine and Russia, there's no way that we're going. Mainly because we are not prepared. I mean, our whole political equipment is, I would say, 70-75% almost the same that it was at the time of the war. So
Yeah.
there's no way we can win against the UK right now. Even with the UK completely fucked up politically as it is right now, also.
Oh yes. Well, just about everybody in Europe is completely fucked up. That's fair to say. In America is not much better. But it's interesting too, though, because it's hard to tell what. While it may not be necessarily be easy to tell what she's for, it's very easy to tell what she's against, and she's definitely not in favor of any of the communists. She hates the Peronistas. She hates the communists.
Yeah,
She
we all
hates
do.
the Sao Paulo Forum. She hates Castro. Probably more anti against these people than any, which is so it seems like they're definitely an ideal combination in some ways. What's going to be her main role now that she's vice president? What do you think she'll spend most of her time working on?
Well, here you have to help me. I don't know who presides over the Senate in the U.S.
The vice president does.
Well, exactly. So in Argentina, we have the same system.
Okay.
Um, so, as vice president, her main responsibility right now is to try to get the votes necessary to pass this humongous deregulation bill through the Senate, because historically the Senate has always been a difficult place for the president and the vice president to pass their bills through. Why? Well, because you are 50 states. We have 27. Each state has three representatives, and well, many of them have their own local political parties, and they all have different interests. And you have to you have to know how to negotiate, and you have to know what each of them wants. And at first, as we as a party didn't have any sort of political expertise, we were really new. We were really scared about what was going to happen, if they were going to give us the votes we needed. And it seems that thanks to the labor of Guillermo Francos, the I would say the Secretary of the Interior, and Victoria as well. They've been able to negotiate it. So the scariest part of this whole thing is done. But what did people think at first? People thought that she was going to be in charge of the whole defense secretary and the whole interior security and the federal forces. I mean, the stuff that she has knowledge in, right? But as she is vice president, her main responsibility has to be the Senate. So the Javier and the other guys from the party sat her down and said, "Well, you have to deal with the Senate, and that's way too much on your plate. So you have to do it. I mean, you cannot make any mistake with the Senate. So it's better to maybe delegate all this stuff about the army and defense and security, and leave it to someone else, and you focus your whole attention on the Senate, and make and help that any project, any bill that the president has to get through the Senate, you can guarantee that from your position."
Yep, that's sounds very interesting. Yeah, so she'll yeah, she's a and she was in the Chamber of Deputies before all this, so they were the only two. Who are who are some of the other allies Milei has in the either the Chamber of Deputies or the Senate?
Yeah, well, in the Senate and in the Chamber of Deputies, I mean, they both work differently. I have not completely studied the compositions of each chamber, but I can speculate a little bit. Well, in the House of Representatives, it has 227 seats, and you have you had two main like two big main divisions. The ones that were with Fernandez presidency, the Peronism, that had a little bit of seats weren't like actually from them, but they were negotiated with local parties from some other districts, some other states, some other provinces, and the main opposition division that was had mainly people from Juntos por el Cambio. That includes people from the Radical Party, from the Pro. It's a whole mess, but in order to sum it up, Juntos por el Cambio and well, the Victoria and Javier from the Libertad Avanza, and afterwards you have the left wing party that nobody cares about, and nothing else. So it seems that the president of the Juntos por el Cambio seats, which is Cristian Ritondo, has already spoken with Javier and with his team and said that he's going to support whatever project he sends to the chamber. So now the objective is to get the small number of votes that are missing in order to get the bill approved as fast as possible. I think they're going to get it because if you when you are controlling the executive branch, at least in Argentina, there's almost no way you can convince a couple of representatives to vote in your favor. There's almost there's always a way. And in the Senate, Well, in the Senate yesterday, there was a special meeting of each senator of each of the three senators of each province. And at first, well, nobody expected Victoria to turn out victorious, and well, she she did. So she got like 40 guys, like 40 senators out of 60 to support her. So that's great. She already designated the authorities of the Senate, and everybody now right now is waiting for Javier and his team to send the bills to Congress and to the Senate in order to well in order for them to be reviewed and to see what happens. I mean, it's going to be a real a real dogfight when that stuff when that stuff gets debated.
Yes, it will be, and we've already seen some interesting developments with the country insecurity. Milei put out a release. I guess this was Bullrich that uh, people blocking traffic to protest will not be tolerated. That they will need to go on the sidewalks or go on a lawn, but not to interfere with the flow of traffic.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that has been a whole issue in the last couple of years in Argentina. The fact that every time something happens, you have thousands of people to go out in the middle of the street in the financial and political districts of the city of Buenos Aires, and completely to make everything out of control regarding traffic and regarding people that are trying to get to the work and people that are checking public transport. This has been an issue for as long as I can remember, and well, and people got tired of it. That's why they voted Javiera. I mean, nobody wants violence to happen. Nobody wants a big show of police repression. Nobody wants to to see replicated what maybe what happened, maybe to make a comparison with the U.S. what happened with the 6th of January riots or with the Black Lives Matter riots in different
Yeah,
states. Nobody wants those episodes to be repeated here in Argentina.
the
But what 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 we do know is when in 2018 during Macri's government when they tried to change a little bit of a tiny little thing in the bill that regulates our 401ks, which in
yes,
Argentina they are completely regulated by the public sector. You cannot decide which bank or which stockbroker manages your 401k, your pension for retirement. Um, and what happened? Well, many political dissidents showed up into the gates of Congress and started throwing like big chunks of rock. And the police tried to repress it, but there were too many. The police was too unequipped. They didn't have any. They didn't have as much people, and you can see the videos on the internet of the left wing guys throwing them really big chunks of rock at them, and you see that, and I mean, a common sense response is this can't happen again because it's a complete lack of respect for the institutions and the security institutions of this country. So nobody wants a big display of violence. Nobody wants a confrontation. Nobody wants blood to be spilled. But if they are not going to let democracy and democratic and democratic dynamic to reach its end, whatever that end ends up being, well, we are going to have an issue, and we're going to need to resolve it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Security in this country, especially urban security, it's a tedious topic. It's a delicate topic, but just to make a long story short, the main point is that we cannot have a big display of violence and repression. Things have to be solved as fast as possible without too much confrontation. And I think the security protocol presented yesterday by Patricia Burlich, the security secretary of Javier's administration, was pretty summed up. It was really understandable what their objectives were, and it had a few interesting things added that well, there's just a kind of like there's like a little bit of a wink to the left wing, to the real left wing guys, the 2030 agenda guys, because there was stuff like, for example, when riots happen in Argentina, it's really common for the people to burn up, to make like pyres of old truck tires, right? Of used truck tires, because they burn more than and they burn more, and they
Yeah.
burn more easily. And well, so yesterday Patricia went on TV, and she started to explain this whole protocol, and she says something like, if people start burning tires, they're going to be indicted, because that is harmful for the environment. And to be honest, I mean, I don't think anybody this administration gives a shit about the environment. But if it works in order to make our political enemies look bad, well, we are not going to like to not pay attention. Everything that works against our political opponents, everything works.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But as I said before, if people feel safer walking down the street, that's going to definitely make him a popular president. Hopefully, he can get 4 more years. I mean, I'm trying to. There's got to be some improvement. If there's improvement in security, even if there's not other improvements, that might help me lay out. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, every sign of political stability, um,
yeah,
any sign of political stability that Javier's administration can give, even if it is one of a security nature, if it's of economic nature, if it's of social nature, any sign works, because nowadays Argentina is living day by day. We have we have no capacity to make a project for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, or even a month. Every day everything can change. Every day everything can go up and blow in 1,000 pieces. So these tiny changes that people are seeing, it makes them more optimistic about what's the future going to be, even if the present is not as good as we want it to be.
certainly, yes, it will. I mean, sounds like I think and sounds like to me things are looking up. I mean, you know, what's the general? I mean, you're younger. And it sounds like a lot of the youth are a lot more optimistic about Millet.
Yeah. I talk about this in Maggie's podcast. If I remember correctly, I said something like that living in a country as fucked up as this makes you be really really ambitious, and I stand by that argument still. I mean, as a young guy growing up in Argentina, even if it was 10 years ago, I was 15, and I was in high school, and I didn't have great hopes for the future. I mean, even then, me and my friends were very speculative with having to leave the country and maybe try to find luck in other countries in order to make a decent wage and to try to make something out of ourselves. But but that just proves my point that when everything around you is hard and everything around you is difficult and everything around you is complex and everything around you seems that it's not going to work out okay, it just makes you wanna make a double the effort. You want to make double the effort. You want to make double the time spent, the double the resources spent, and even if it doesn't work out because of external stuff, well, at least you have learned something, and you won't make that mistake again. And that's one thing. And the second thing is that my generation and the generation under my generation, the guys that now have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, they all grown in a country where they have heard since they were born that we are in an economic crisis and that the economy doesn't grow and then that everything is fucked up and there's no solution. So imagine like being bombarded with that idea about your own country for so long, and out of nowhere a guy like Javier shows up with his big hair and his big voice and his curses and his great and his like uh, politically dissident ideas, and he's different than everyone else, and he proposes different stuff. Well, that's just like the punk revolution in the UK in the 1970s. I mean, there's a new wave of radical political ideas coming, and the first one that are going to consume them are of course the youth, because the youth are the guys that are not, well, mainly of course, but they are the guys that mainly are not going to pay the consequences of whatever they support. So as they don't have that in mind, they go with the thing that just vibes with them the most, and in this case is Javier.
Yes, it definitely is. I mean, it certainly looks like this is going to be a very interesting time. I mean, what do you got to say about some of his other any of his other people in his cabinet that you might particularly like Deanna Mondino, or I think there's some other people there too, some ministers.
Well, Diana, as the Secretary of State, as the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, her main objective is trying to make Argentina have deeper connections with the civilized world and the developed world, because well, here in Argentina we've been spending too much showing ourselves with the type of country that we don't want to be associated with, like Venezuela and Cuba and maybe some sub-Saharan country that is handled by a crazy dictator. We don't want any more of that. We want to to make ourselves have nice diplomatic and economic, mainly because we need them, economic relationships with the US, with Europe, and of course with Israel, because that has been one of the main focus points of foreign relationships with in the during the political campaign. The fact that we are going to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, as Donald Trump did during his administration, and in order to show that we clearly support the state of Israel, the right for the state of Israel to exist, and that Jerusalem is the undeniable capital city. Um, but of course, nowadays people say that that the ideology never surpasses pragmatism, and that even if Javier doesn't want to sit down and negotiate with communists, he's going to have to sit down and negotiate with countries like China, because unfortunately China still has still has uh, some deeply rooted investments in our economy, and we can't just like make an embargo of Chinese enterprises of Chinese, or like impose economic sanctions. We can't do that to the Chinese. And well, one of the main conflicts is that the Chinese, during Cristina Fernandez's presidency, her last presidency, uh, implemented a military base in one of the outskirts provinces in the country, near the frontier with Chile, and that's just a huge violation of our sovereignty. Why? Because you cannot have I mean, as a sovereign state, you cannot just approve the appearance of a military base of a foreign country, of a foreign superpower, in your own national territory. You can't do that. And well, they did, and we don't know a single thing of what's going on inside those military bases. The only thing we know is that it's in our national soil, and we want them gone. Sorry. But well, but you know how the Chinese are really hard at negotiating, so it's going to be a long road ahead.
Yes, it will. Well, certainly. Yeah, I think we've got an interesting time. Certainly. Yeah. It's. I think this pretty much covers all we needed to cover for now. You got anything else you want to say before we go?
No, no, it's. I think I already said everything I wanted to say. I just wanted to thank you again, Chris, for having me here. And well, if anyone here in this podcast or this recording wants to get to know me, wants me to make me any question about what's going on in Argentina, they can just ask Chris for my credentials, or just follow me on Twitter. That my Twitter is at Medicen Rapa. That's MEDICEN RAPA.
Yeah. Where else are you out? Any websites or anything? Yeah.
No, no, I'm only on Twitter right now. I don't wanna. I don't
Yeah.
have any other social media for now.
Yeah. I see a YouTube channel, but yes. Okay. Well, it's been good having you on here. So yeah.
Yeah,
Please like the video, subscribe to the
yeah,
channel, go buy my novel Escape from the Village, and of course, check out my Substack occasionally. Sometimes there's stuff there. And thank you, Eric Saba. I'm Chris Baker, and we're out.